We're talking with an expert about just how the Venezuela situation could play out in Congress. The U.S. operation in Venezuela over the weekend shocked the world, and has certainly had reverberations in Congress as well. Mark Cancian of CSAS joins us to talk about how this could impact the ongoing budget negotiations and how this might play out. Obviously, if we're going to have a more permanent force in the region, even if it's just permanent for the next year or two, let's say, that costs money. O&M budgets are famously the first things that start to get stressed in any sort of situation, let alone the fact that we're talking about potentially government shutdown and operating under CR again. Do you expect to see any budgetary impacts from this change of posture that we're kind of looking at here?
One is in the near term, I don't see additional resources being requested. The Pentagon got some money in the One Big Beautiful Bill that it could use here. And the administration in its national security strategy says we're going to pull these assets from other regions and bring them to the Caribbean. We're not going to expand the force, except for the Navy, and that's going to take a long time. On the other hand, the kind of forces that the U.S. has might change a bit. There's talk, for example, of designing some Army units specifically for border security. And they would have different requirements than Army units designed to fight the Russians. You might well see some naval capabilities that have these additional capabilities if we're going to have a permanent naval presence in the area. And then, of course, the Coast Guard got a huge amount of money in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And over time, I think it will be able to expand what it can do. So I think you'll see some changes on what kinds of things get purchased. In the short term, you're not going to see any increases in the budget. Looking a little beyond that, this might give a little more push to another reconciliation bill. That is, what we saw with the One Big Beautiful Bill. I'm sure the Pentagon's going in there and saying, hey, we need to do that again.
Do you think Congress would be supportive of that?
I think there's a fair chance. Now, the OMB's strategy might be that they will either go in with flat budgets or maybe even stick with CRs, which squeezes the domestic side, and then use the reconciliation bill to fund defense at the level that they want to do. The Congress went along with that this last year. I think that if they could take action before the new Congress comes in, there's at least a fair chance that the Republicans will be able to do that. There's a widespread expectation that the Democrats will take the House, and a Democratic House would never agree to that.
Mark Cancian of CSAS, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the program.